Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where we try to keep our episodes shorter than the time it takes Roman Reigns to make his entrance.
He's the new phenom now, it seems, and he likes to take his sweet time getting into the ring.
He stole his gimmick. I enjoy his smug, slow entrance. It's very good.
Me too, and I also enjoyed SmackDown. Much better than last week's episode, right?
That was smooth. I also enjoyed SmackDown.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, I'm Jess,
I'm Johnny.
and we are here to recap another episode of SmackDown. But before, we just wanted to say a quick thank you to Dan from Sweet Chin Wag podcast. He gave us some really great feedback on our episode, and it really pushed us to kind of improve. And it was really nice to actually get some sort of feedback, just to kind of see, where we're at and what we can do to get better.
Yeah, it was a very exciting high point in my week.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, and again, we are the Wrestling Experience. If you do enjoy our content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It really does help us a lot, and we appreciate it. And also, just leave a like, below, and tell us that you love us.
This is like
Exactly. So the show opens up with a moment of silence and a 10-bell salute for the late Hall of Famer Pat Patterson. Uh, you know, Pat Patterson for us, I guess it kind of means a bit more because he is a native Montrealer, and he is a wrestler that has changed the game over and over in his career. The first Intercontinental Champion, he's the one that he was kind of like the brainchild of the Royal Rumble, and I've seen him many times just walking downtown in Montreal, and I would see Pat Patterson. I remember last time that I saw him, I even texted you. I'm like, hey dude, I think I just saw Pat Patterson, and I said hi to him. It was really
yeah.
nice.
Weren't we working at a certain popular store
Yes.
and I wasn't there that day, so I totally missed it, but
Yeah.
you saw him
Yeah,
and you showed
absolutely.
me his name on the list and I was like, why am I not working today?
Yeah, so again, it's just really sad, but again, like I think they did a really great job at kind of making this into like a Pat Patterson memorial episode. Like throughout the episode, we saw a lot of like a bunch of wrestlers kind of reminiscing on him, and it was really nice to see. And it was nice to see Vince McMahon also standing with all the wrestlers.
Everyone was there, even Roman, Vince,
Mm-hmm.
the whole
Absolutely,
gang.
absolutely.
They were. The only thing that was weird was the automated like "Thank you, Pat" chants.
Yeah.
Like that was,
Yeah.
and that's not the only time we hear that, but that's a little complaint. But it doesn't matter. Let's not nitpick.
It kind of reminds me of the rest in peace kind of for the Undertaker. Remember that?
Yeah, I was trying to forget the final farewell because it was so
I'm
long.
sorry.
But it's back again, but no, it's all good.
Yeah. So
SmackDown, we have now the Roman Reigns interview.
absolutely.
Kayla got an interview with Roman Reigns. That's amazing. But Roman is not in a good mood, right? He's very upset. He was not introduced quite the way he likes to be. Although I think Kayla's introduction of him was very good. She mentioned like everything he's ever done before he actually came out. But she missed like one thing, and that really upset him. And so he had Paul kind of like fill in and say it. And it was basically the reigning, but he said raising, which was a Paul Heyman botch is something you have to take note of because it never happens.
No. He says rainsing.
Rainsing,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a thing. He said it multiple times. I don't think it's a botch.
He's doing it on purpose.
He's doing it on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And but honestly, like I have to say that Paul Heyman has not been talking as much as let's say when he was Brock Lesnar's advocate. But I like his facial expressions because you know that he's like deathly afraid of Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, that's like the best part. Just watch him when a segment is going on. It's like just his reactions, his facial expressions are probably like one of the more entertaining parts.
Yeah.
So Roman totally owns Kayla, tells her off, says she's like some second-rate interviewer. They could have had Michael Cole, who has experience, but instead we give you a chance and you botch, you blow it. Like this is the most relevant you're ever going to be interviewing the tribal chief, and you ask these stupid questions. She asked. She asked two questions and he thinks they were both stupid. The first one was if he was afraid of Kevin Owens or if that was the second one, and if he's using Jay as a pawn. I love how he also says, does he look like someone who manipulates, even though he totally does? And eventually he just gets really upset about this whole thing and he's like pretty much says, I'm done. Paul, you can handle this amateur. And Paul Heyman makes a really great point about Jey Uso. If he's being manipulated, he's like, well, let's look at the facts. Jey Uso's been main eventing SmackDown for the past several weeks, and the ratings have been going up. So Roman is doing everything he can for his family, and he's motivating Jey. And it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, it makes sense. Like, again, Jey Uso has been main eventing SmackDown, and Jey Uso has been on fire. But you can't discount the fact that, yes, Roman Reigns is kind of manipulating Jey Uso. And actually, before Paul
Yeah.
Heyman even says anything else, Kevin Owens cuts them off. And he doesn't see the point in waiting later tonight because we're told that there's going to be a tag team match. We're going to see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens and Otis. He just wants to settle this right here, right now. And this is where, again, it's just the little intricate details that I enjoy. Roman asks for the mic, and then Jey Uso just snatches it away from Paul Heyman. And then you realize Paul Heyman's like, uh-oh, Jey Uso done effed up right now. And
Yeah. You saw it on his face.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well for Jay.
yeah, and then Jey Uso kind of, he accepts the challenge. And, Kevin was like, actually, I wasn't talking to, your busboy. I was actually talking to the head of the table. And how about at TLC? Let's get let's get a table, let's get a ladder, let's get some chairs, and you defend that title. And Roman, as the head of the table, he doesn't back down to anyone. He doesn't fear anyone, so he accepts. And he's so slick. He's like, there's a time and place for everything. I'm a gentleman. There's a lady right behind right behind me. I'm not gonna fight you right now. And then they just kind of walk off. But Kevin Owens wasn't done with them, was he?
No, he picks up the mic, and he has quite some words. He basically says that Roman, he should call him when he grows some balls because he clearly doesn't have any, and he's a bitch. And he says he'll basically, in response to his grow up comment. I found it funny that Roman was just like, grow up. And Roman kind of stops in his tracks, looks very upset, kind of just like swallows his pride and walks off. But something big's coming. And just to summarize, this was great. I mean, the Roman Reigns was doing such a great job. I was just telling myself how I'm kind of getting annoyed at this tribal chief thing, but this promo was very good. He was such a smug lord. He was such a douchebag, but he painted himself in such a way that it looks like he's helping Jay when he's really not. He completely owns Kayla, but then calls her a lady later. Very good.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens, of course, was very good as well. He's never disappoints.
Absolutely. So we're going to move forward to our next match. We have Bayley versus Natalia with Bianca Bella on commentary. It does have a questionable finish, but before the match actually begins, we do run backstage very quickly where Jey Uso is apologizing to Roman Reigns. He talks about how he might have overstepped his bounds, and Roman Reigns understands. He calms him down, but he's like, consequences. There are consequences for our actions, and Jey Uso is kind of freaking out about that. But I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on this match because I'm not going to do a quick rundown. It was 3 minutes, including a commercial. And Bayley's kind of working on Natalia for pretty much the whole match until she kind of gets distracted by Bianca Belair. Bayley actually distracts herself because she starts taunting Bianca Belair. And Natalia just kind of reverses a running knee and she puts her in a sharpshooter for the win. So Bayley kind of made to look like a chump, getting only 3 minutes, including a commercial. I just don't understand where they were. I mean, I understand where they're going with this. It's going to be Bianca Belair versus Bayley, but it just kind of makes Bayley look so weak.
Yeah, I thought this was the lowest point of the episode. Bianca Belair's on commentary, and that's really what the focus is. Mm-hmm. Natalia winning is, I guess, interesting because she kind of wins clean with a sharpshooter, but it was really Bayley that, like you said, distracted herself. It was very bizarre. I think it was maybe poorly executed. I don't mind having Natalia get a clean win over Bayley to elevate her, but it kind of felt like it just made Bayley look worse and Natalia not look the same.
That's the thing. I understand exactly where they're going through, but it's just that you just make Bayley look so weak, and I understand that you want to elevate Bianca, but does it make sense to elevate Bianca by putting her against a formidable opponent in Bayley? You know what I mean? It was just kind of weird. But
it's like if Bianca does beat Bayley, if this is the match we're setting up, it just doesn't do as much now because Bayley already lost.
Yeah.
So.
Again, that's just our opinion, but so we're gonna move forward to a very special match. So, since the original idea of since Pat Patterson was the first IC champion, we actually see the original IC title that he won, I believe, in Rio de Janeiro, which was on full display. And honestly, I love the old school look of that title.
It's a nice looking title.
Yeah, and we have
Before that, though, I just wanted to point out they were doing this throughout the night where they were showing tweets of people honoring Pat Patterson, and they saw there was a Sami Zayn tweet there, so they didn't snuff him off this time. WWE actually showed one of his tweets.
That's true. It's a good point. So speaking of Sami Zayn, he is going to be in our next match. So again, it's a very special match because it's basically the current IC champion and also former champions in a tag team match, 6-man tag match player. We have Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio and Big E, who has a new theme song and a new entrance,
That's cool.
which I thought was pretty cool, versus Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Dolph Ziggler.
I wrote to myself, I'm like, Rude was only a U.S. champ, so they couldn't put him in there. So all of a sudden, Nakamura's back.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, I was even gonna mention, something like that, but I thought the match was actually really, really good. We get to see some great teamwork from the faces as they kind of all take turns, to kind of work on Dolph Ziggler. Sammy does kind of cause a distraction when he pulls on Daniel Bryan's leg, and Bryan actually retorts with a suicide dive. But eventually, it's basically all heels, all working on Daniel Bryan. We actually see Sami Zayn beautifully reverse Rey's move and turn it into a Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was just really good. And again, Sami Zayn never wins with a Blue Thunder Bomb, unfortunately. But yeah, so there's a lot of chaos in it. I remember that at one point, Sami Zayn kind of takes Rey Mysterio, just kind of launches him into the barricade. Sami is the official man, but he's kind of lurking outside when Daniel Bryan is distracted. He gets rolled up, but Daniel Bryan kind of reverses that into a yes lock. But yeah, and then I believe there's Sami gets a rope break, he hits a brain buster, but Daniel Bryan reverses that once again. He rolls it up for a win. So again, it was a feel good moment. The faces win, and again, Daniel Bryan pinning Sami Zayn. It seems that this is where they're going with Sami's next feud, right?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the match, although I feel like there wasn't much action from Rey Mysterio. But the sequence with Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan at the end was probably the highlight. But there's more stuff going on after the match too. There's like they huddle up the guys, the faces team, the winners. They huddle up and they decide to go back into the ring while the losers are still in the ring, and they kind of have like a stare down. And then Ziggler's like, "Okay, guys, we're all gonna like charge him at the same time," and they do, except they don't. So Nakamura and Sami Zayn charge, and Ziggler stays behind. They quickly get taken out of the ring, and then Ziggler's left to deal with everyone by himself. He's pleading, doesn't help. He takes everyone's finisher, and the good guys are celebrating. And you see good guy Nakamura pulling Ziggler out of the ring, even though he just kind of got like screwed over by his tag team partner. He's still a good guy, and he pulls Ziggler to safety. So that's great.
Yeah, it felt very much like a house show. Like how the house shows end, and it's always like, send the kids happy. And then you have all the faces doing their finishers. It was, I don't know if it was like an homage to Pat Patterson or if it was, or whatever. But again, I actually enjoyed that feel good moment. And Dolph Ziggler being that sneaky guy that he is, trying to attack Daniel Bryan, but only to, get retorted.
Yeah, it just felt like it should have been Sami Zayn doing that part, like playing that role. I don't know, just because he's the IC champ and like everyone wants him. But like, yeah, it was fun.
So I'm like really excited to talk to you about this next segment because what the hell was Kalisto doing? But before we go into that, we have Kevin Owens who's talking with Kayla backstage, and she talks about the bold statement that Kevin Owens made this week and even last week, just calling out Roman Reigns. And Kevin talks about how he used to respect Roman Reigns, and not so much because Roman Reigns now is looking down on everyone. He wasn't like that before, and he doesn't know if it's Paul Heyman, but it's just really despicable. And then all of a sudden, you have Kalisto that just kind of opens the door, wearing his Gucci jacket, wearing a fedora over his mask, and Kevin's like, "We're live. Like, what's going on?" And Kalisto doesn't know what a fedora is, and it's just weird. Like, was this a botch? Like, did he not know they were recording? Like, what was going on?
No, this is a new gimmick for Kalisto, who's going to walk into the wrong place at the wrong time. Clear, there has to be like if anything, this segment, like backstage segments, might have been pre-recorded. Who knows? So
yeah.
But he doesn't know what a fedora is. You're right. He's very confused by this whole thing. Kevin Owens is trying to explain that even though Roman Reigns is a despicable person, he used to be one of the boys. And he himself used to be despicable. He's trying to make changes, and he actually compliments his fedora. And then once Kalisto is out, he kind of has a word for Roman Reigns, and he can't say it in front of the good people of Fox, so he kind of hums it. Mm-hmm. It starts with an A. We know what it is. And as he's humming it, Otis appears to be humming it too. They become like kind of super cool friends now. They're all like happy. They're blue collar guys. They have a lot in common, and they're ready to work together. And Otis is fired up because he wants to get back at Jay and Roman for last week.
Absolutely. And we all know what that word is. Yeah. So we're gonna.
Segment. I like it a lot.
Yeah, they called it the War of Words interview between Carmella and Sasha Banks. Here's a couple of things that I really enjoyed. I thought that Carmella made a lot of good points. Number two, Sasha feels like a heel sometimes when she talks, even if she's supposed to be a face.
I
Um,
know she does do that. It's like she doesn't know quite, but
yeah.
she still puts over Carmella. She still does it. It's like, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
But like she puts her over, but at the same time she says that you've gotten where you've to this point because the man with no chin helped you, and then R-Truth helped you. So it was kind of like backhanded compliments at the same time. But yeah, like what did you think overall of this war of words, as they call it?
So I have like a preconceived, like a bias, I guess, towards Sasha Banks. Like I feel like Sasha Banks is like way better than Carmella in this match, like as a personal bias. But Carmella, I feel delivered so much. Her promos were amazing. Even though Sasha was constantly attacking her, she was always firing back. So I feel like Carmella did a really good job with this promo. But essentially, they're insulting each other. There's Michael Cole's asking them questions. Um, I think what is it? Carmella, yeah, he asks Sasha if she's jealous of Carmella, and obviously Sasha's not. But then Carmella makes up a great point to say that you want it. You're entirely jealous because like this was your dream. You wanted to do this, and then I just walk in and I all of a sudden do what you couldn't do in like half the time, and it was just I thought it was very good. I thought like Carmella really showed that she is a legit challenger for this, and this all leads to a match at TLC. They basically kind of confirmed that we're gonna have a match for the women's title here.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy the point where, yeah, exactly, like when she said that, I'm the hot girl that gets all the guys that I want, and with half the work, I'm actually already better than you. It was solid, and then you kind of saw at one point when she mentioned the fact that, like, my reign has actually been longer than all of your title reigns combined.
Yeah,
I thought that was a pretty good point too. And Sasha was fuming at that point. She wasn't happy. Like she knew that she couldn't, really retort for that. But I'm honestly looking forward to this match. I think the women's division, they're really killing it with the whole Bianca Bella and Bayley, and now we have Carmella and Sasha. Let's not forget, again, we've mentioned this many times. Before Carmella kind of took some time off, she was killing it in the ring, and I think that's going to continue. Especially with we know what to expect with Sasha Banks. I think both of them are going to deliver a fantastic match. So now, next up we have King Corbin versus Murphy. I'm sorry for the sigh.
What an exhale there.
But we have King Corbin versus Murphy, and Corbin has some friends. It's the Forgotten Sons minus that one guy that we're not going to talk about.
Listen. I have to say, I have so much to say about this because at first they came out. Okay, so they come out in suits, but they also have hoodies. So for me, this is like I've never seen this before. This like I don't.
Weird.
What is this? I have and not only that. Did you see what Dominic Mysterio was wearing? He had like this purple pinkish long sleeve turtleneck with a gold chain. He looked like The Rock with the fanny pack from that picture, but he wasn't wearing black. He was wearing like this. I'm like but they don't say that it's the Forgotten Sons right away. But I kind of I don't know. I looked at one of them and I'm like, hey, that is Wesley Blake without a beard
and Cutler.
And I figured, okay, so the other guy, Jackson Riker's gone, and it's just going to be them two. And so this is the match we get, and it's a pretty good one, right? I mean, Corbin's in like kind of full control, and this time like the Mysterios can't really do anything about it, and he's constantly. And when Murphy does get like a chance to like take over, like they fight on the outside like at least twice, and he kind of like is distracted by the Forgotten Sons, even though they're not really doing anything but just standing there looking menacing. But I guess he's kind of like, hey, that's my tag team partner, because after the commercial, Corey does actually say, oh, I got a good look at them. That's the Forgotten Sons, and Wesley Blake used to be Murphy's tag partner. So they kind of like tell that story. Eventually, though, when Murphy looks like he's finally going to get the advantage, he's fighting Corbin on the outside, and he tosses him back into the ring. He climbs the top rope. You can see Corbin signal at the Forgotten.
Yeah, he's doing this. Yeah.
He's like pointing at them, and then that's when they charge Mysterio and Dominic, and they attack him. And Murphy kind of gets distracted by that, and he wants to go help them. And then when they kind of run off, they run in through the ring, and so he chases after them and walks right into an end of days, and that lets Corbin pick up the win there. Solid match, except the second half where Corbin really slowed it down. He did his thing where he just like runs the ropes and punches you, which is like the most anticlimactic move you've ever seen. But overall, Murphy had a couple of solid knee strikes, and it's just fun to watch Murphy. So even though Corbin slows it down, this ended up being a pretty nice match and a good way to continue the feud. But now Rey Mysterio, the Familia, they're not heels anymore because they're getting beat up. So that was like a one. It's just a little weird from last week, but yeah, it was totally a fine match.
Hopefully this was their final encounter.
No,
Although
it's not.
it's not. Yeah. So we're gonna move on. Before our main event, we do have one last backstage segment. It's basically the Street Profits that are backstage, just hyping up the show. Essentially, that's what the Street Profits do when they're not wrestling. They're just backstage hyping it up. And then we have Rude and Cesaro that just kind of show up and they talk about who's next in line. And there's a bunch of bickering going on. But in my opinion, Rude and Ziggler won fair and square. So Rude and Ziggler should be the one going after the Street Profits.
Yeah, but it was nice to have Cesaro come in. Like, I mean, why not have a triple threat tag match or something? Like this is where TLC triple threat tag matches.
Absolutely.
That's a thing. That's a huge thing. Like that's been done several times. Why not do it again?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're setting up for. And I'm ready. Like, sign me up. But here's our main event.
So yeah, we do have our main event. We have Kevin Owens and Otis versus Jey Uso all alone. So,
it's a handicap match, but then it's a handicap match for the other side. Obviously, Roman doesn't come out on time. Like, you could see that Jey comes out and he's like slowly going to the ring, waiting for his music to stop so that Romans can start and he can have his tag partner. But 'tis not the case, right? It ends up being basically a 2-on-1 where Jey does put on some good offense, but mostly gets beaten up by Otis and Kevin Owens until Roman decides to finally come out. Once it looks like Jey is actually taking over, convenient, right? Mm-hmm. And Roman basically kind of kills Otis with the steel steps. Like, he's not. So Roman is a legal man, but Otis is not. So I guess that's why it's not a disqualification. Because he like basically gets tagged in, beats up Kevin Owens. Superman punches Otis on the apron and just beats him with the stairs.
It was brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal until Kevin Owens tries to save him. And once Kevin Owens is like attacking Roman Reigns, you have Jey Uso diving on him, and we cut to that commercial. And post-commercial, we get the 2-on-1 handicap match in reverse, right? And Kevin Owens does have a couple of good moments. At one point, Jey looks like he's going to win with a frog splash, but Roman's like, no, I end the show. Come tag me in. So he literally forces him to get down from the turnbuckle, the top rope, to tag him in instead of just splashing Kevin Owens for the win. Kevin Owens is able to counter later, and he's able to like push Roman off and stun Jey, and actually might win. But Roman just like comes in and starts beating him up and locking him in the guillotine. And this time he gets disqualified because he's not the legal man, and he's attacking the legal man. And then I guess they decide that they're F this. Jey Uso does the same thing he does every week. He's like, F this, grab some chairs, and they start beating up Kevin Owens. But then Roman Reigns delivers the punishment right back to Jey, and he smashes him with the chair as well.
Can I? But I'm sorry. But like, when they start beating down on Kevin Owens, like that was already bad enough, and then all of a sudden when he hits Jey Uso, the way that Jey Uso turned back, he's like, "What did I do?" He says that. He's like, "What did I do?" And then he just gets his ass kicked by Roman Reigns. It was. I was laughing, but at the same time, I was like, "Man, Roman Reigns is killing it." And then just a bunch of chair shots on Jey Uso, and then he stops. He grabs Kevin Owens by the beard, and he says that he's going to take his livelihood. He's going to take his manhood, and he's like, he's going to make you and your family fear me.
Got his attention.
Yeah, I honestly, man, like, I don't even have words as to like just how solid Roman Reigns has been. Never would I would have said a couple years ago that, you know, Roman Reigns and great mic skills were to be synonymous. But hey, I've been proven wrong.
He's never been bad on the mic. He just never really had a chance to.
Suffering succotash.
Okay. Suffering succotash. The only thing I didn't like, though, I feel like it was nice to see Otis get a main event opportunity, but I feel like they could have had him in the match and got taken out, or maybe he would have had a chance to save Kevin Owens or anything. I just would have liked to see a little bit more from that rather than just, oh, he got hit by the steel steps and that's it.
Poor guy. Lost a girl and then lost a briefcase.
And lost a match last week, lost half a match this week. You know, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
We can only sympathize for so long, right? Absolutely. Yeah, this was a solid closer to SmackDown.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, that was our recap for SmackDown. It was a really, really good episode based on what we got last week. I actually like the fact that they're slowly building up this whole Bianca Bella Bayley stuff. We might even get a match between them at TLC. I think it's going to be a solid pay-per-view. Sasha Banks and Carmella, definitely looking forward. Like, again, it's like this war of war of words, as they call it, definitely hyped me up. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. I like Kevin Owens' new shirt that says "Stun the World." Can he actually stun the world and actually defeat Roman Reigns? I really don't think so, but I'm a huge Kevin Owens fan, and I would love it if he would actually stun Roman Reigns and defy all the odds. I think it's going to be a great match. And it seems that it's a TLC match, based on what Kevin Owens said, right? He did say bring the table, bring the ladder, and bring the chair. So it should be really exciting. Kevin Owens is probably going on top of the ladder and then doing a move and missing, and that's probably gonna happen. I guess the one thing that and you even alluded to that earlier is how Bayley kind of got jobbed out. She kind of got chumped out. She got the crap end of the deal with the way that she lost to Natalia.
The execution was weird. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with Bayley losing to Natalia. Mm-hmm. And I think the goal here for the main event of TLC for SmackDown side is to elevate Kevin Owens here, because I don't think he's going to win. It's almost like the storyline wants Jey Uso to finally be the one to take him out. Like it's starting to make more and more sense that he's just being abused week after week for no reason. Mm-hmm. Like it's like the story's calling for him to have his redemption arc at some point, but I don't know. Yeah, Kevin Owens probably not winning, but man, does he have to look good in defeat here? I hope.
I think so too. And again, I think it's the final thing that I wanted to mention is how the IC title scene has really definitely gotten me hyped up. I think what makes sense, however, is with the display that we saw from Big E, it kind of also makes sense that we've seen a feud between Big E and Sami Zayn brewing up. So I think that at TLC we might even see like a 4-way, 5-way, who knows, like a 6-way. And I would love that, man. Can you imagine a TLC match between 6 potential people to win the IC title? I think that could be pretty cool as well.
I would love to see that, but I think we're asking for too much. I don't think we're going to get too many TLC matches at TLC, even though the name of the pay-per-view is TLC. You would think every match would be TLC. The worst part is going to be if they do that thing where they do, these guys are feuding over chairs, so they have a chairs match. Or remember that one year where it was TLC and stairs?
That's true. Oh my god! Remember WeLC?
That was legendary, though.
That was the greatest thing ever, honestly. But yeah, so we still have, what is it, about 2 weeks left until the pay-per-view. So it's already shaping up to be a really, really good show. And with the way that SmackDown is going, I'm definitely looking forward to our next episode. And let's not forget, just wanted to remind our listeners and our viewers that this Sunday is going to be NXT TakeOver War Games. I'm really, really looking forward to NXT. I think, it's so rare to see a TakeOver that's not great. So I'm expecting some great things, and you guys can definitely look forward to our recap that same night.
It's just weird that there's no Finn Balor defense on that card. But yeah it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've seen him lately. He's looking real jacked. He's been working out, and he should be coming in real soon.
The cat is back, as they say.
Absolutely.
That was a terrible line. Why did they make him say that?
Yeah. So that's it, guys. That was our recap for SmackDown. I wanted to thank again Dan for his feedback. Again, it just kind of pushes us to be better and just kind of improve. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Best of the best.
That's all you have to say?
Usually, you want me to say more?
Usually you have like quirky things that you say, man. People are looking forward to these.
Oh my God, is this the high point of the episode? This is how we keep them going the entire length. Well, you know what? This week, you've been bamboozled. There's nothing. I've got nothing to say.
Okay.